Welcome to the She Births podcast, a place for conversations to help you create a beautiful birth and grow gently through the powerful time of motherhood, or as we call it now, matrescence. We are not just birthing our babies, remember, but also ourselves. I am Nadine Richardson, your host and creator of the world's first scientifically verified childbirth education program, She Births. I have been a yoga teacher, doula, and birth educator for over 20 years, and I started to create She Births after my own wild and wonderful birth experience. Today, I am proud to say that She Births has helped tens of thousands of families around the world, and we are published in the British Medical Journal. Our programs have a unique, holistic toolkit, mindset skills, and philosophy that all work together so that you can have the most natural, gentle, and joyous birth possible and make birth beautiful no matter what unfolds. I will be talking with fellow experts around the world so that you can feel empowered and critically be engaged in decision making. There are lots of birth stories from mums just like you, sharing their challenges and joys. We will be hearing from mums and celebrating the extraordinary growth that happens during motherhood, that unraveling rite of passage that leads us to finding a new self on the other side. Our world-class birth courses can be learnt either face-to-face or online inside our free app. Just jump onto the She Births website, shebirths.com, and take a look. We have lots of freebies for you if you feel like learning more. We have a doula matching service, the perfect way to ensure you and your partner are supported, our matrescence program, and our 14-year-strong Soul Mama Circles, the perfect initiation and support into motherhood and sisterhood. Our vision at She Births is to make birth beautiful for every family around the world. So if you like what you hear today, please help us to keep this podcast going by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing with a friend. I hope you enjoy this special episode. Hello, it is Nadine here from She Births, and I am sharing with you a podcast about my new baby, my book that I have birthed. It has been a 3-year gestation and probably many more years actually since the seed of the idea was there. But it's been about 3 years since I wrote my first draft. And so it's been a much longer gestation than what I thought it was going to be. And to help people understand the She Births book, how it's different to other books and how it's different or adds to the current She Births course and the other offerings that I do and why I wrote it, I thought I would just record this little podcast in my lounge room, actually in the office. So I've got my little kombucha here. Grab yourself a cup of tea and let's go on a little journey together. Hopefully this internet, we've got storms up here and it's a bit annoying, but hopefully it's all going to work. So I thought I might begin by reading you the introduction to the She Births book. So it begins with welcome. All humans have one magical thing in common, no matter our background. Once upon a time, each of us was birthed. Whether we know our birth story or not, it has shaped us. Alongside this are the cultural narratives that shape how we think about birth. For many people, these involve Hollywood movie scenes, from the side-splitting to the utterly horrifying. Even if we think we are starting with a blank slate, these images dwell in our minds and influence our expectations of the birth experience. ... Right, that is my little intro. And after the welcome, it goes into the research behind she births, explaining the studies published in the British Medical Journal, which are amazing, still amazing. And then it shares with you how simple it is to create a beautiful birth. And it's about these 3 pillars. And this is very much an evolved idea that has come through over the last 3 years, and it ties in with, well, more than 3, actually, probably sort of 6. And it ties in with how I have adapted and refined the program in accordance to the struggles that women are having currently in the world, in the modern system. Because having a beautiful birth, having a physiological birth, has never been harder. And so what I've watched over the last 20 years of doing this work, and over the last sort of 20 plus years as a doula, and 18 years of she births, and 10 years since the trial was published, you need more skills. You need different information, as well as the She Births program original, the OG. You need to be able to understand yourself on a much deeper level to be able to make decisions that are right for your family. And this is in part why I've written the book and why now. So, your path to a beautiful birth, I will jump into those 3 pillars in a moment. So basically, the book is called She Births, Your Practical Guide to a Beautiful Birth. Because we all know, if you know me, I am an extremely practical, grounded person. To be a doula, to be a yoga teacher, we're very much in our bodies, and I love shit that works, like the toolkit that came out of, the research. That was my kind of jargon that I used in all that I brought together that no one had done before, the amount of tools that I wove together into the She Births program, which originally I was like, oh my God, this is going to have to be a 5-day program. How are we going to do this? How am I going to teach people all these amazing things that are really going to make a difference so that people can choose from the toolkit what is working best for them? But we did it. I did it, and it worked. So it was a bit like this with the book, because there was so much I wanted to fit in the book. I wanted to give away as much as possible, because to me, this began with a vision and a feeling in my heart, and it is a gift from my heart. Every page has been written and edited with a huge amount of love, and every sentence, every word has been considered, and it is a legacy gift. I had a vision, and it has stayed with me for a long, long time. It's been my guiding light over the last 3 years, and that was of a beautiful book wrapped up in a pink bow, like you would do a present. And every time I questioned myself at the end of meditation, what am I doing? Should I do this? Should I do this? What about that? La, 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 la. My mind would go in a million directions, and all that spirit, that's the word that I use. Some people might call God, some people call it higher self, quantum. In that realm, all I kept receiving was this image and write the book, do the book. Everything will come from the book. So this is a bit like matrescence for me personally, and for She Births, there is a rebirthing that's going on from this birthing of the She Births book baby. So yes, we know I'm a very practical person, but as you've probably heard, I'm also a very spiritual person. I spend a lot of my time now in nature, and it's allowed me to really become the creative person that I've always wanted to be. I work less in a way face-to-face, but I work more in the realm of ideas and visions and development of cultural, artistic change. So there's a new project already birthing, but, let's just talk about the book first. There's lots of exciting ideas, and I love teaching She Births, to couples face-to-face. It's one of my greatest joys. And I love being a doula as well. And I have mostly loved writing the book, but I have to tell you, it was also extremely hard work. Primarily hard because of the amount of time looking at a screen and sitting at a desk or standing at a desk. For the last year of writing, I have been getting up usually around 4 a.m., sometimes 3, sometimes 5, if I'm lucky 6, and meditating, and then literally pressing buttons on the coffee machine, doing a sun salute, press the next button, do another sun salute, press the third button, the steam button, and then I do my third sun salute, and literally then I would go and sit at the computer. So the last year, I suppose it's quite similar to writing a PhD. It's about the same length as a PhD. It's about 100,000 words. It's got over 300 citations, research citations in it, different papers. It has really, pushed me to my absolute limit. The last year has felt like a sprint inside this marathon, this mega marathon. And I can talk about that more, the creative process and why I chose to go with Murdoch Books rather than self-publish. And there's a lot of questions anyway, but I'll tell you more about the book. So this book is for pregnant families, whether you're having a first baby or a subsequent baby birth. It's for people as well that really want to understand their previous birth experience. It's not just if you are pregnant and wanting to have a beautiful birth. If you really want to understand where things went awry, I feel like this book will provide a lot of answers, because I know from the conversations that I've had with thousands and thousands of women over the last 20 plus years that this provides insight. And we're all learning through our births. There's no perfect birth. And yet generally what we learn is what we need for our next step of evolution. But as well as families, it is also for birth professionals. So I really believe in this book. It is so comprehensive that I hope that it will become the new guide, the new manual, not just for parents, but for birth professionals, for educators, doulas, midwives, physios. It should be in every clinic. Every family should have one. It should be such a great resource for people who are doing doula or midwifery sessions. There's lots of illustrations, there's lots of how-tos, there's lots of science, there's lots of not just information. I wanted it to be soulful and warm. I wanted it to feel like you and I were sitting on the lounge room, or I was visiting you as a doula, and we were sharing your journey and all the feels that come up. So it's designed to have beautiful, heart-opening stories at the end of each chapter. There are 11 chapters in total, and each one has a beautiful, inspiring story shared by families who I'm incredibly grateful to. I'm also incredibly grateful to the reviewers that helped me with this book, with the Aboriginal section, the physiotherapy section, the obstetrics research and midwifery elements. Those people are acknowledged in the book, and I will share them over time. And of course, all the endorsements that have come through from doctors and midwives and doulas. I'm so grateful. Of course, a couple of my big heroes, like fangirling Professor Andrew Bissett's and Dr. Sarah Buckley. Just to mention two, I love everybody that I reached out to and shared the book with early, and I'm so grateful that they also loved the book. You can read about that. And what else can I tell you? The landscape right now is really not great if you are pregnant, and we've got almost 50% of first-time mums being induced, which, as we know, is a very stressful amount of pressure to live with during pregnancy. It's a very hard decision for women to make. It often leaves women feeling more traumatized. It brings about more complications. And the very challenging part about the induction rates is the research behind it, because there's some conflicts there. Some of the research also shows, although they are disputed, these papers in certain circles, I did have to mention them in the book, some do show that women have positive outcomes and equal amounts of agency, whether they were induced or not. I go into more depth, inside the book, and I share what I think is really important around the induction conversation, which is you need to understand where this is coming from and why it is coming to you as a suggestion or an offering, in fact, not suggestion, as an offering and an option to you at 41 weeks, and that 99% of the time it's not being presented as an option. It's being presented with pressure and advice and suggestion. See, I even used that word suggestion. Dope. And it's coming to people because of the stillbirth rates doubling between 41 and 42 weeks. But those are very small risks and percentages that need to be presented to mums. They do vary upon age and other risk factors potentially, but they need to also be presented with all the risks and benefits of induction, and this is not happening at all. The second part of the induction conversation is that we need to understand not just the research, where these suggestions are coming from, or these options, are coming from, and why they're coming, but how you make an informed and embodied decision around that. So I talk a lot, and I have a lot of reflective tools around how to connect with your hell yes and hell no. And this is a really important part of the process of becoming a mother. It's not just about gathering knowledge. Information is not making birth easier. If it was, the whole world would be having goddamn orgasms right now, and they're not. C-section rates are over 41% in Australia, and trauma rates are really high. Tocophobia, which is the phobia or disgust of pregnancy and childbirth, is on the rise. And you have to ask yourself, really, is social media feeding this? Misinformation, we don't know what's misinformation, but just generally the binary kind of approach to birth and the information overload that people are experiencing, rather than choosing a path, setting the compass, feeling into your own experience and connecting with your body and intuition and instinct. And I talk about that in the book, and I have exercises and stories around that, because that's when it gets to crunch time and you're looking at sometimes conflicting research or conflicting suggestions from people. You have to come back to yourself and use the BRAIN acronym to make those conscious decisions. But that I within the word brain, benefits, risks, alternatives, intuition, and nothing, that I is something we need to know how to feel in ourselves so that we can be confident in our decisions and not regret the choices or the things that we say yes to, because that, in my experience, is a huge contributor to birth trauma. Okay, so I've gone a little bit awry there, a little bit of a deep dive there on the old kind of intuition, induction, information thing, but I wanted to share those things anyway. So yeah, my position within this whole birth space is it doesn't serve us to be binary, to be angry, to blame, because we actually need, always have and always will, really, to keep birth safe. We are always going to need everybody in the whole team. We are going to need surgeons. We are going to need midwives. We are going to need doulas. And we need you as parents to be connected and embodied and understanding not just of information, but of your hell yes and hell no, as I've just said. So that way, we know that you can make the best decisions for yourself. Now, the systemic problems exist, and I talk about that too, the medico-industrial complex, the lack of continuity in the system, The lack of access to continuity around the globe is shocking. Less than 1% of the population in Australia chooses home birth. It's very hard to find a private midwife and even to birth inside a birth centre. There's a huge disparity between women wanting that and actually getting that, and it's way too low, the numbers of women who actually get to birth in a birth centre. So I talk a lot about that and prenatal testing as well, and how that contributes to the beginnings of the cascade of intervention, and planting seeds of doubt, and how to discern which tests feel best for you and are right for your family, and how to interpret that and prepare yourself for that. So I think those are really important conversations to put in the book. And I suppose those are two big conversations that are actually almost impossible to squeeze into a She Births course, or as a doula, I know how hard it is to have all these conversations in that short window of time. And the book was the perfect place to have these more nuanced conversations. And I have to say, like, the next book I write probably won't have research in it, because that is incredibly hard. I had a wonderful research assistant, but man, we worked so hard. And hats off to anyone who's done a PhD, because it's brutal. Anyway, moving on. Why am I giving it all away and more? Someone has asked, well, I'm not really giving it all away. Like, I suppose in a sense I am, because people really need it. I think people will still hopefully come to the She Births course. I'm hoping that there might be a teacher training model that allows people to be really empowered with the book as a manual, but then have these guides, these community activations, parents that are really skilled and able to support people and keep them on that path to a beautiful birth, as well as doulas and midwives as well. So if I can help people do teaching sessions alongside the book, then let me know, because I will respond to that. That, creating a business, which, to me, that's secondary. It's just this model that, nature forces us to use in order to share what I have. But creating that is really something to do in dynamic with community. So that's a little bit about the book, which is actually some juiciness about the book, hopefully. Hopefully you got some value from that. I will be doing a talk with the beautiful Jessica Chapnick-Khan on the 2nd of June at Gertrude and Alice. And we'll be talking about not just the science of birth, but the soul of birth. Can birth be an awakening? Can pain and beauty exist together? And I think it's going to be a beautiful evening. I'm looking forward to that, being in my home turf of Bondi, where so much of my learning and birthing of She Births originally started. And then my second event will be at Birth Time, the amazing Birth Time Village in Annandale, with fellow doula Jerusha Sutton. We've both been doulas for over 20 years, and we share the same values around birth and compassion and community. So we're going to talk about the personal and the collective. I was going to say the personal and the political, but that's pretty charged, isn't it? The personal and the collective, like, what's our responsibility and what can we do as a community to help others have beautiful births? So it's going to be hopefully birth professionals. I'll be welcome at that, as well as parents. And there'll be nibbles and drinks at all these events in Sydney. The next event will be on the Mid-North Coast at Wingham Library, which I'm really excited about, actually, to be in the region. And that my dad lives there. It's on the way back home. And then there'll be a Byron Book Room event, the date to come, and an event here at Maynarm, my home, with the labyrinth, and which is easier to come to with your kiddies and babies and so on. So I wanted to try and create that inclusivity, of course, because families are marfying. So please support the She Births book. If you believe in families having beautiful births, even if you don't believe that birth could be beautiful, if you believe that birth should be better than what it is right now, and if you want anyone you know to have a better birth, friends at work, people that you see on the street, family members, then I suggest you buy them the She Births book. And if you've done She Births in the past, I reckon you're going to want to give this book to your future children. I've had friends reach out and say, I'm buying a copy for my friend's daughter and also for my own daughter, because she is a She Births baby and she is 17 years old. So she's going to have that little book down the line, hopefully, a few years to go. But it is a very precious book. It's full of love. It's written from my heart and my mind, and it's been so beautifully refined with the wonderful team at Murdoch, who found me the world's best editor, Katya Ariel, who is also across, as she said, I am across the canon of birth work, and she's done lots of birth books before, and she was a gun. I couldn't have done it without her and so many other people. So it's available at Big W, through Booktopia, if you're and other stores. And it's available through Waterstones and Amazon. If you're in Europe, the UK, please share the love with anyone and, come along to a book event and let me know what you think of the book. I can't wait to hear your response to reading the book. And thanks so much for listening today. I send you lots of love. This was a nice short one from the lounge room. Speak to you soon. I'm Nadine Richardson, and you've been listening to the She Births podcast. If you've enjoyed today, please help us keep this podcast going by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing with a friend. Don't forget to check out our catalogue of previous pods and, of course, our unique programs and services. You can find me and my team at shebirths.com, our community of families and birth workers on Instagram and Facebook. She Births is 2 words and plural. Remember, when it comes to having a beautiful birth and beginning motherhood, your She Births education is your empowerment.